We're back, boys and girls. We're ready to talk stocks.
We are experiencing the freelance part of freelancer finance, and one of us is just busy. The other one is just sitting around throwing money in FUV, huh?
For our audience, FUV is an electric vehicle company.
Bring up the chart. We had the rule last time. Every time we talk about a stock, you got to bring up the chart.
FUV Arcimoto is the company, and what they do is they make small, like utility electric vehicles.
Utility vehicles that companies that need short trips in and around town can now have a vehicle that they own, no lease, no nothing, and they own and operate it themselves.
These vehicles are not that expensive too. They're maybe around $8,000 to $10,000 for a vehicle, and that's affordable for someone who needs to deliver groceries or do something that's within like a city range of miles. I think each vehicle is around 100 miles of range.
Home delivery of goods, meals, and groceries is rapidly accelerating, placing a growing strain on our already crowded streets. So Arcimoto has created the Deliverator, an all-electric, ultra-efficient vehicle designed to sustainably meet this growing need now. Based on Arcimoto's small footprint vehicle platform, the Deliverator maneuvers through traffic with ease and can park in spaces no full-size vehicle can.
You get the idea being that, I mean, they're going after those 2 to 5 mile trips where an Uber doesn't really make sense. It's too far to walk. You don't really want to get in your car. But say you want a delivery, and especially now in these times, you could see that. I mean, I heard Domino's Pizza was working on something where it's like it cooks the pizzas as it's driving and it comes to your house fresh. This is
there is some robotic stuff going on with that.
You know what I'm saying?
But they can do that basically, or keep an oven in their vehicle. Mm-hmm. And this vehicle is, like I said, $8,000 to $10,000. So now the driver doesn't need to have a $30,000 vehicle. And all of a sudden, you can park in places you couldn't park before, which is good for if all these deliveries are happening in city places.
Essentially,
right?
Like a motorcycle parking.
My point being why I started investing in them was that I've been following them for around a year, and other electric vehicle sites talk about them, of course, like Tesla. And I never pulled the trigger, but at like $1.75, let's go to the chart now. I started buying them at $1.75, which was, where was $1.75? Maybe right here. I think right before it sort of took off, I started a little bit buying them. Okay. And I wasn't actually watching the chart here at all when I was buying them. I was just like, all right, maybe it's time I pull the trigger on. It's not that expensive, you know?
Well, the big thing about them is look at their market cap. They're at about 50 million. Let's look at some of the analytics about why we think the stock's going to go up.
I know. Hold on. Let me see if I can see that here. Right now, they're $2.47. The total market cap of the company right now is $60 million. So even if you bought right now, you really didn't miss out on anything.
No, and if that goes to $1 billion, I mean, if that goes to $1 billion, that's a stock.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, Tesla's now worth $160 billion. Tesla could swallow them with like, it's like their change, their pocket change.
But I started to be going after, like, Tesla doesn't seem to be going after that market. Like,
not yet, because they're busy. They're busy right now. But I could see Arcimoto maybe getting a little bit bigger, and Tesla's like, why don't we just acquire them? You know? Because it's the electric vehicle market, and why shouldn't a company like Tesla control the whole goddamn thing?
I could actually see like one of the others, like GM or Ford, buying them.
Oh, that would be. I hope not. I would want to sell my stock at that point.
That's what I think would be the play, because to make up for what maybe at least 5 years behind.
Yeah, maybe
Tesla's engineering, they would say, let's just catch these guys and build up on their platform and build down from their current.
Yeah. Well, because Ford has those bigger trucks for delivery, that Ford has a lot of that. So, yeah, like all those trucks that
Sprinters,
F-150s that are actually just the vans and all that. I was buying them, like I said, just right before the run. So at 175, I was like, let me buy some shares. And then it just like skyrocketed up to $2. And I think 60 was the max it hit, somewhere around there.
Right now, it's hovering at around the $2.50 mark, but you can see it's
$2.47.
It's somewhat plateaued, so it's just sort of dancing, going up and down about 10 cents. That's usually a sign that people are usually when that happens, there's a point when it just pops up to the next level, and then people keep doing that. So at worst case scenario, this will inch its way up to $3.50, $4, and sort of sit there. Best case scenario, they catch the eye of a bigger investor, a bigger company, or they land a big contract, and that could become, then it could be off to the races.
They have 4,000 approximately orders now, maybe more coming in, obviously, but I know 4,000 orders and they can't even meet those in a timely manner because they're so small. So
When did those orders come in? Was it
I think this was
post
pre 2020 they were coming in, and I'm sure orders are coming in right now. So looking at their charts, this is what's interesting. That's why I'm buying more tomorrow. Actually, I didn't tell you this, but it's above the 200-day moving average. This green line that I always keep track of. And I wasn't really looking before. I wasn't looking at this before, but when we were talking earlier, I was like, "Oh my God, look at it! It's sort of sticking around the 200. It dipped below it, and now it's above it again. So if it does approach back at the $2.10 and touches the line, like you can wait for that like pullback. I don't really care, honestly, but a real technical trader will wait for a pullback.
Here's the only reason why I would say to give it a couple days is because the stock price is so low that a change of 50 cents means every 5 shares is another share. It's low enough.
Oh, it's very low. Yeah.
You could get, but I'm saying every 5 shares, you could be getting another share if you just wait. Or maybe that's maybe that's where you put a limit, because a lot of times these stocks will hit that target in after hours. And so it might touch it or kiss it, before or after, and then in which case you buy in. That happened with Phil and Smile Direct. It shot up to over $7, hit 710 in pre-market, and then when it opened, it was at the same price it was the day before. So there's a lot of that trading.
That's the two philosophies. Once again, I'm not exactly doing this as a trade for the sake of making $1 a share, which is a lot, by the way. Like if it shoots up to like 350,
that's why I'm saying
that's not a little bit. And it is getting to the overbought right here. So it might actually have a pullback. You see this RSI? The RSI is at around 65. That's the relative strength index, which basically at around 60, meaning too many people are buying it too fast. Okay. But I'm just looking at the chart, and I'm sure a lot of algorithms are looking at this chart and saying, oh, wow, the 50-day is going above the 100-day. That's pretty bullish, man. Okay. So what can happen is this can take off. Like it might not have that pullback because just the technicals of it might say, okay, it's time to buy and go in and make the 33% jump to the next level, because it's so cheap.
It looks like it would be at around, what is that, 270? 250, around 250.
Well, right now it's 250, but if it jumps like 33%, it's around like 325, 350.
Yeah. If it goes over 3, you might see.
Yeah, and it'll go fast. Look how fast this went from 161. No, to 161. That was like 2 days or something.
That was maybe even in one day. If you zoom in.
3 days. It was like, so if you thought you were like waiting for some dip, it never came for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if you look,
I'm sure a lot of people believe, just like Tesla, this is going nowhere.
2%.
Oh, that's pretty small.
It's pretty small. It's non-existent. This means that this thing is not really on anyone's radar.
Right.
But look at their after-hours volume. 3 million.
I don't know. What is that? 311.
Yeah, but they usually multiply that by like 100,000s or. But this is what it's doing in a day. It opened today at 248, right near the 250 mark, bounced around.
Yeah, it's sticking in a range. It's in a range right now.
Bounced down, and then look, after hours, you see it started to trade down. So
and it might go down. Like I said, technically it might hit the 200-day and bounce off that. And obviously, if the market goes down, it's going to crash down back to 150 or whatever. That might happen. But
either way, so that people know that we're not just talking shit. I mean, I know I'm in for 1,000 shares. You're in for 2,000 shares. So, I mean, we're in. We've invested to the point where like literally every dollar this thing moves up is thousands. And I plan on buying.
That's right. You can get a lot of shares, and I believe in it. That's the thing. I'm not buying something that, like we keep discussing. I'm not buying this as like just a trade for a week, or I'm actually buying this because I think a $60 million company, if they do well over a span of 3 years. Is that a $500 million company? Is that $1 billion company? I don't know what that is, but it's not a $60 million company anymore if they keep selling vehicles.
Yeah, this is basically the bottom in the last couple of years. So just based on the history, you could see that there is, at some point this was trading at $4. And right now,
the thing is, back then they didn't have the orders they do now.
Exactly, I was going to say, and that was before all this news, and that was before people really realized how important what they're doing. It's filling a certain, like, imagine if there was a fleet of these out right now, you could see that this situation would be just a lot more comfortable for people.
Imagine you're paying, obviously gas is not expensive right now, Some would say it's free, but
Yeah.
went down to negative $37. But anyway,
Yeah.
so, but the point is, electricity is cheaper than gas, no matter what, especially a cheap vehicle. So there's low maintenance on this vehicle. You just plug it into some 50 amp outlet at the end of the day, and you're basically done. I'm not saying this is happening now, but I can see in the future that they sell way more than 4,000 vehicles.
Yeah, it all, you know what, it really depends on what the response is or what the future preparation is. Because for example, like with Uber Eats, for example, restaurants don't need that. Something like Walmart, for example, they might already have a very robust shipping, because they're not shipping it from the stores. They might ship it from a warehouse that goes directly to the customer. So it's really about figuring out or looking at who is buying those.
Well,
Like,
here's a question
who
for
are
you.
the
Like right
4,000
now,
people buying them?
when I get an Amazon delivery, I get this little tiny box that comes in this giant truck.
Right, but
Right?
he's got a
No, I
truck
understand he
full
has a lot of stuff, but
Exactly.
imagine even the UPS guy drops off the local stuff to some small deliverator company that runs these deliverators. So how much would they save just on gas? All these big trucks going within a couple of miles of where it has to be. You know what I'm saying?
I would say that that's offset by the amount of hourly workers you need to drive that fleet. That's where I think their hang up is. Once they get that vehicle somewhat automated, you
Mhm.
really get the savings, because you still have to pay a person to drive it. That one UPS driver is delivering all the packages in that truck. You put that on 5 vehicles, let's say it fits on 5 deliverators, you now need 5 people. That's 5 insurance liabilities, that's 5 lunch breaks, that's 5 chances for something to get fucked up. So it's really about and there's not that much storage in that vehicle. So it's
Well,
more
that's what
about,
I'm saying. It has to be local. This is what I
yeah,
mean. So right now you have a UPS truck driving across multiple neighborhoods, wasting a lot of gas because that's expensive. And also there's a much bigger liability for a giant truck. I do think there's a market there for a small delivery
I'd want to
vehicles
know,
for food,
I'd want to
for
look
small
into who.
packages. How about things that you need right away, by the way? What if like a Best Buy or somebody, you want a package right away, like you want something small, you need a drive, you need a cable, you need this. It's not economical right now, besides Amazon, of course.
Right.
It's not economical to get that to you like same day kind of stuff
Yeah.
right away within an hour. I think these little vehicles that are electric, they don't take a lot of to charge and maintenance.
Hmm.
I think there's an actual market for that. That's what I'm getting to. Like there's some market there.
Well, it's a stock. It's a stock. At the end of the day, it's a stock that looks like it's up on the rise. It looks like it's going in the direction we want, and
Right.
everything's been priced in. So there really is nowhere for it to go but up. It's not like they have a bunch of vehicles on the road where there's going to be a bunch of bad news. If a company with a 50 million market cap has a bad quarter, it's only worth 50 million. Like there's nowhere
Right.
room for it to really go. Like it could go to 175 again, but
Well,
at that
it,
point you
it
can
can
buy
go
more.
bankrupt. Well, let's be serious. It can actually go bankrupt if they just don't sell enough vehicles for a long enough time.
Right.
But I'll give you some history of this company. I have been doing some research. This is not a new company. This is like, think of a smaller Tesla. He started 10 years ago making these electric vehicles, building all the supply chain that he needs. And now they're finally, this year, they're finally releasing and
Right.
selling, and everything is happening like this year. Of course, CV19 happened, so that's not, maybe that's great or bad for them. We'll find out, but
But
this might be a good thing for them.
it could only be good for them. If you told me that they signed the deal with Domino's Pizza, that is what they need to do. They need to become the delivery
Right.
service for chains restaurants that have their own delivery or typically use employees with their
Right.
own
With their own
vehicle,
cars and stuff. Right.
that
And,
kind
and
of
all
thing.
and all they do is put those little things on
Yeah,
their
man, I
vehicle.
could see them doing damage with that. Like if they just made a deal with Domino's or like the pizza guys, or if they made a deal with like Five Guys or Habit Burger or In and Out, if they made a deal with another company that already has the customer base,
Right.
they'll see the results. They'll see the benefit of it. They'll see it. Because
Well,
I mean,
what
it
is that
raises
like
their
Like
cost.
if DoorDash basically even made a deal with a company like Arcimoto.
Yeah. 19 grand delivering to Oregon, Washington. First premium review, sufficient, affordable, and
Oh, so it's 20 grand for the vehicle. Okay.
20 grand. Fill all your local delivery needs, custom built to fleet, eliminate your gas bill, looking good doing it.
Oh yeah, this is the other thing that's been happening. First responders actually are also test piloting this vehicle right now, because that vehicle can get into situations in smaller areas, like smaller streets and all
Yeah.
of that. Some
Well, it's the
places where
benefit of
big trucks can't get into.
it's like you have a motorcycle. You can cut through some
Right,
traffic.
right. I told you about them multiple times, and you pulled the trigger. I was like, dude, just throw in $100.
Yeah, no, and like I can't even take credit for this because when I timed it, it was like right at 170.
FUV is a long-term play if you actually just believe in electric vehicles. But as we saw in the charts, I actually think FUV is a good short-term play where there's a 33%, 40%, 50% stock increase that can happen possibly in the next couple of weeks. By the way, guys, like and subscribe. We need to build up our people liking the videos.
Subscribe, and if there's a stock that you're looking at or a stock that you want us to talk about, let us know.
Yeah, because we're willing to also learn about it, and we possibly may trade it if it's a good idea.